24-hour operations. There are also special initiatives for factories employing informal sector workers. And I can report that they are supporting a female who is doing sheer nut production with, I think, about 200,000 or some number of also female workers, and then also supporting another industry in Ashanti region. The Women's Development Bank, seeded capital of 500 million for flexible loans is on course. It has been put in our budget. The target is 200,000 women entrepreneurs. The partners are Ministry of Gender, Maslow District Assemblies, and CSO networks. The African Development Bank estimates that women-led SMEs need 42 billion in financing. So we are taking progressive steps. Next, please. Okada legalization, pension expansion, and ministries and agencies' actions. So Okada commercial motor vehicles has been legalized in certain designated areas. This is 2025, Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025. 500,000 Okada riders now formally recognized as workers and taxpayers. Source, DVLA Okada registration data, Q1 2025. GRA is piloting mobile tax collection from Okada drivers, formalizing revenue. Source, GRA Digital Tax Program 2025. The Monio pension for the informal sector. There's enrollment for registered Okada operators. Source, National Pension Regulatory Authority Informal Sector Pension Expansion Policy 2025. National health insurance and life insurance has been bundled with the Okada licensing fee. Source, National Insurance Commission Okada Partnership 2025. DVLA registration and licensing program, riders receiving formal worker status. Source, Ministry of Transport Okada Implementation Report 2025. Next, please. We continue. SNIT also, in its informal sector outreach program, has reached out to 50 districts. Source, SNIT Annual Report 2024. I talked about the 3-tier pension system that we apply in Ghana. So tier 3, the informal sector pension regulatory guidelines, was published in 2025. Source, National Pensions Regulation Authority 2025. The NPRA is also expanding digital registration via USSD and mobile money integration. NPRA Technical Roadmap 2025. In Ghana, our target is 500,000 informal workers in the pension scheme by the end of 2026. Source, Ministry of Employment and Labor Inclusion Plan 2025. I've spoken to you about the Monio pilot in the first quarter of 2025. 12,000 market women have been enrolled in voluntary pension. Source, NPRA Informal Sector Enrollment Data, March 2025. Now, we do a comparison. The Rwanda benchmark for Ajo Hazer grew from 37,000 to 2.9 million savers in 4 years. That is, our source is World Bank, the promise of Ajo Hazer. We must do the same in Ghana and be steadfast about supporting the informal sector. These are steps, deliberate, strategic, targeted steps that the NDC government has taken to make inclusion real for the informal sector. These are steps that we promised in the reset agenda that we are delivering under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Next, please. In terms of the agencies and ministries who are acting on all this, we talked about the Ministry of Finance. They've allocated 500 million to the Women's Development Bank capitalization. Source, Government of Ghana Bank Budget Statement of 2025, paragraph 156. Ministry of Trade, 24-hour Economy Coordinating Secretariat has been established. Source: Ministry of Trade and Industry Gazette Notice 2025. Maslock has extended microcredit reach. They are targeting 200,000 women for 2025. Maslock Strategic Plan 2025-2027. Then MAGO, Ghana Enterprises Agency, Informal Sector Formalization Program. This is also on course. I launched the World Bank report on business, women in business and the law about a month ago in Washington, and this was one of their good practices. The Ghana Enterprises Agency collaborates with the World Bank. Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Women's Bank partnership with District Assemblies is also on course. And the GIPC, Ghana Investment Promotion, also has incentive packages for companies who are hiring informal sector workers. Source: GIPC Investment Code Guide Ghana 2025. Next, please. So, inclusion as a collective responsibility. Some reflections. We know Ghana cannot do it, government cannot do it alone. That's why this session today is so very important for us, this discussion. The Office of the President has championed a model of collaborative governance. We bring together civil society, private sector, organized labor, trade unions, philanthropy, and NGOs around one shared mission. We have the Kwewu Business Forum. We monitor and evaluate, and also we're working with other partners outside the jurisdiction and looking at domestic resource mobilization, creating a new philanthropy framework. And my personal experience as Deputy Chief of Staff is simply that inclusion is everybody's work. It is very important. Next. So we have been deliberate about inclusion. We've brought together ministries, civil society, development partners, and private sector around this shared vision of economic growth and transformation. We also have the Fearless Fund. Just a few days ago, I had the privilege of meeting the founder, and it's a fund launched in Africa and Ghana, and the specific mission is also to provide loans for women entrepreneurs. We are really expectant that this will also help. We have the Kwewu Forum during Easter that was championed directly by the Office of the Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Debra, and is standing proof that Ghana's private sector is ready, willing, and capable of being a development partner in building an inclusive economy for Ghana. Then we have created a Presidential Policy Delivery Unit, and we are tracking implementation, addressing bottlenecks, and making recommendations to various sectors. Next, please. Then, very interestingly, we are engaging with civil society to come up with a philanthropy framework for local resource mobilization. Those of you in NGOs and civil society are aware of the difficulties that we're facing currently in accessing funds for our civil society or NGO work. And so together with Alaji Tanko and WATSI and some other NGOs, we're creating that framework. And we're very grateful to this partnership with civil society. So beyond effective government policy, we do need this framework and a structured system that will enable us to mobilize domestic and diaspora resources for critical sectors like the informal sector, especially for purposes of financial inclusion. Next. So we have a call to action. Civil society, every single stakeholder in this room, what can we do? What should we do? Please, let's extend a partnership with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority to drive pension registration, not only in markets, in the farms and all places nooks and crannies where we can get our informal sector workers. Conduct insurance literacy campaigns in informal economies and hold the government accountable to published inclusion targets. So hold us accountable. For private sector, we can enroll supply chain informal sectors, offer insurance products designed specially for them, and partner them through the Kwewu Forum. For the financial sector, design credit products without traditional collateral barriers, deploy mobile credit via existing M-Money platforms, and support Women's Development Bank. I know the Governor of the Bank of Ghana and the Bank of Ghana are also creating regulatory frameworks for fintech together with Ministry of Finance. It's on my phone. I should have brought my phone up here, but I'm sure you can read. I'll share with the organizers so that you can see all the various initiatives being undertaken by the Bank of Ghana. Development partners, let's fund baseline data on informal sector in Ghana and the challenges and obstacles that fuel exclusion of the informal sector. Technical assistance for pension system expansion is needed, and let's partner with all NGOs and development partners for this to work. Next, please. We are looking at a nation that includes all its people. And we close where all great policy arguments must close, with purpose. The question before us is not whether Ghana can afford to include its informal sector. The question is whether Ghana can afford not to include its informal sector in its development. That is the question. History, the evidence, and reflections from the presentations gives us a very clear answer. And I can even give a personal anecdote to that. My grandmother sold garden eggs and tomatoes at railway market along the rails. When the trains come, they will collect and sell. She also eventually ran a small chop bar for the railway workers. She was in the informal sector. But through her savings, she was able to educate my mother to go to Derby Avenue Public School in Accra. My mother became a nurse and the matron of the Department of Medicine of Kolebu Hospital. And she also saw the value of education and ensured that I went through primary school, I went through secondary school, I went through university, and I stand here. That is the force and power of the informal sector. Next. So countries differ in their economic success because of their different institutions. The rules influencing how the economy works and the incentives that motivate people. Nations fail today because their extractive economic institutions do not create the incentives needed for people to save, invest, and innovate. This is why sometimes nations fail. We do not want to fail. We must include the informal sector. We must develop a robust, effective, and efficient value for money strategic plan and framework, and deliberately focus on including our informal sector in our development and in our economical ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can do better. As you meet Terry in a seat. A missed decade, 2014 to 2024, to a clear government agenda, not only to develop the country, but to carry everybody along with a 24-hour economy, with the Women's Development Bank, with legislation of Okada, and the implementation of these policies. there's a clear responsibility on everybody, including CSOs, private sector, financial sector. The next stage is that we would break into focus groups and come up with ideas as to how we can bridge this particular gap that exists between the formal sector and the informal sector. But before we do that, we would like to take a photography session at this point in time. I respectfully call to the podium the deputy the Deputy Chief of Staff, Nana Oyebankwado, and respectfully, Prof, if you can join, as well as Doc. Can you join us here?
That's anything I'm hearing for the first time.
Inti Wagana had informal sector, Binum, Omu Wakokra, Omu pension, Senia, we are civil servant, Osumbiano, Smith, Abaima Uskakakra. Yen Wagana had informal sector, and Tissa, Binum will be, but Binum to so any day. Inti Meka say, NDC Abai under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Yatro reset agenda manifesto no. Ye de shemu say informal sector okada for ma enkofo mu ton aden wo dwom farmers no ye behwe mu titiri omo no mo informal sector no. Inti ye kaya ye inti me bobo nyoma ya ye okada sisi a ayemra. And a National Pension Regulatory Authority or the program are all register for you. You can say BVL is also a register or 24-hour economy. You can say a BSC aye emra. Almost so mode on no Women's Development Bank and also soon 500 million cedis in the budget. Mema source nina. Vice President, Her Excellency Professor Nana Jelopuku Ajema, or the two them say, Intermebobo programs the brave a buying a and I can say, yen come civil society or more. Na yen share, na yen to minya pension, Emma informal sector. Into your boss Smith for Abasu, your boss especially National Pensions Regulatory Authority. Omo Bwejuma pa omo in Shisha Shrunku edema informal sector. And a DVLA or CADA forms so omo the National Health Council. Into me boss and your manina and a Maslock and another we omo register 12,000 market women. Into Yogusu Thank you.